I promise you in this video, I'm going to deliver the next easy 1000x gem. No bullshit. And I have a special surprise for all of you, because if you are one of my first 1,000 subscribers, or the first 1,000 people to submit the form and follow directions, but before you subscribe to the video, you need to watch the video and pay attention, because I'm going to give you specific instructions, and I'm going to talk about the tokenomics of the token that I'm promoting specifically with this channel. This is a brand new channel that I built out specifically for this project. I'm going to talk about what we do from a high level and why this project is an easy 1000x. And listen, you can make your own judgment. So I'm going to talk about the project. I'm going to go through and I'll do a screen share and I'll show you the project that I'm actually talking about. I'll talk about the NFT project, why I'm giving 1,000 or my first 1,000 subscribers, or the first 1,000 people that subscribe to the channel and also take advantage of it, I'm going to give a free NFT. And it's a way really to give back and honor my first 1,000 subscribers. I built out my first channel in a completely different niche when I had my company and sold that company, and because it was draining my soul and I was over it. And now the reason I'm launching this crypto project is, and I'm not talking about the NFT project, I'm talking about a crypto token, which is the 1000x gem. And really, when we take it to where I want to take this thing, it's actually more like a 500,000x gem from where it is today as of the filming of this video. So I'll talk about that, but I'll talk about first off why this project is bullish and my vision for it. And I'll also tell you a little bit about me and what else I have going on and why this project is going to be successful. Because the truth is the reason most projects are scams and they're just a waste of your time and your money is because of this right here. And I'm not pointing to me, I'm talking about the dev, the founder, the person who started the crypto project. They're just in it for quick cash, an extraction event. So that's why you see these pump and dumps where they're like, oh, we just made a quick 100 grand or a quick million, whatever. Truth is, that doesn't interest me. And you might be like, oh, what, you don't care about money? Truth is if I get a lot of money and at the end I have to sacrifice my reputation to get it, then what's the point? Like, you can't do anything with it because everyone hates your fucking guts and your reputation is just a rug puller. And so that's not at all what I'm looking to do. And I'll talk about the tokenomics of the project, and I'll talk about, again, that NFT project and the directions you need to follow in order to take advantage of that. And here's the deal with the crypto project and why I started it and what I'm doing with it. So first off, let's talk about the problem that exists in the crypto space and why all these projects pump and essentially dump. Because really the truth is the reason they pump and dump is because they have nothing else to do. They have no actual value. They have no long-term tokenomics. And here's what I mean. When you look at a project and you look at tokenomics and you look at something like the OG crypto, like Bitcoin, it has a limited supply. It has 21 million. It was the first one, so it has widespread adoption. That one's been battle tested already. And so we kind of understand how blockchain works in the sense of it's a public ledger. Everyone can view it. Everyone can see the transactions. It's total transparency. And because people gravitate towards that one because it's completely decentralized, that makes it a very appealing project. But the truth is, when it comes to Bitcoin, is that those tokenomics, which is basically just limited supply and creating that scarcity in conjunction with widespread adoption, is what actually give it any sort of value. Well, this project, or let's talk about other projects that suck, right? Projects that suck, what they do is they have no real tokenomics, meaning that they're like a meme coin. Like, listen, I love Dogecoin. Dogecoin's cool, but it's a project that was created as a joke, meaning like it wasn't ever meant to be something that's turned into this 30, as of the filming of the video today, I think it's like a $35 billion market cap. It was never originally created to do that, but the meme took off in that, you know, you have to kind of ask yourself, what is the value of a meme in society? And obviously there's some value to it because that coin has a lot of supporters and a lot of community behind it, and myself included, but I don't delude myself about what the actual value of that coin is. It might go up in value, but at the end of the day, it has an unlimited supply. There's no staking, so there's no like yield that gets created from it. And because it has unlimited supply, that basically by default makes it just not valuable. That's the problem with most tokens out there. The other problem is that because they don't have any long-term tokenomics in terms of an earning mechanism, right? If you just mint a token and then it doesn't do anything, so it just, you drop, your coin, you call it coin 3047, and then a bunch of people buy it, and then the price goes up because people buy in, and then the only thing for it to do is to sell off and then dump, and that's it. That's the cycle that we see in the space. Well, when you create a staking mechanism, meaning something that spits off yield, like where let's say there's a 6% yield, now you have an actual investment that is spitting off cash flow, it's spitting off income. Now the problem with this is when you look at that, you might be thinking, okay, well that's great, but where does that income come from? Great question. It comes, if set up properly, from a tax. Now, here's how tax works, because people don't like taxes. Taxes suck. But when you have a lot of transaction volume and you have a low tax, meaning a tax that's like 0.5% or 1%. So that way, if you're buying, let's say $100 worth of something, you pay 1% in tax. And so it's kind of like a transaction fee. And so you get $99 of that token. And same thing when you sell, it goes up in value. And so really a tax, what it does is it incentivizes holding and staking, and then it discourages some level of at least short-term trading, or when you look at market volatility trading where people are just taking advantage of small ups and downs in the chart and just buying and selling because there's no reason not to, because they can trade on very tight margins and still earn a profit. And a lot of people are doing this with bots. Now, a tax helps discourage that, but what it also does is it creates a source of income for holders that have staked their holdings in this particular coin that we're going to be talking about in this video, and lots of coins that have staking protocols. And so it rewards people for staking and providing liquidity to the pool. When you stake, here's one of the downsides: you cannot unlock for it. Normally it's a period of a couple weeks, and it varies depending on the staking mechanism in the particular project. But the benefit of that is it creates less market volatility for that particular project or for that particular token, because as the token goes, up and down in value, it might have a 10% drop, 20% pump, and there might be people wanting to take profits and unstake their tokens, but they can't. And so in a lot of ways, it forces you to hodl, because you could see a 10, 20% dip in a week, sometimes more in a day, in an hour, right? And then if you can't unstake for 2 weeks and you go to unstake it, well, by the time that that your tokens are released and unlocked, that could have completely corrected to the upside, and now you're back in FOMO mode and you're like, I just need to restake, and you stake. And so it's a way to still get income from your original buy-in, whatever that was, whatever the amount that you originally bought in. If you bought $100 on a token and then it goes up to $1,000, $10,000, $1 million, whatever the value is, and you're getting a 6% yield on that. Here's how that works when you get to bigger numbers. When you get a coin like this, like the one I'm talking about in this video, that does 1,000x, and let's say it goes from, you bought $1,000 worth and it does 1,000x, that's now worth $1 million. That $1 million is spitting off a 6% yield in terms of staking protocol. That 6% turns into an annual return of 60 grand a year off of a $1,000 investment. Now, this is why staking creates long-term viability for a project, or it can. It's not the only thing that you need to do, because there needs to be community, there needs to be buy-in, there needs to be constant attention, there needs to be a lot of things. Like, teamwork makes the dream work, and like everything has to go right and continue to go right in order for a project to really have success. And I'll talk about what that takes, and when I'm talking about this project, you'll kind of see the bigger vision. So the point I'm making with this staking yield is that if you had invested $1,000, got 1,000x, and now you're staking your tokens, maybe you sell off 10%, and so you're staking 900,000. I'm just using that as an example. That would be about 50,000 a year in earnings. That's literally every year you're getting now a 50x on your original investment. That's about $1,000 a week that you're getting every single week, a return on your investment that was originally just $1,000 that you threw into some coin that did a moonshot. And the truth is where this coin is at today, as of the filming of this video, where I said earlier this could do a 500,000x or more, it's because of where the market cap is. Right now, you couldn't get in any earlier. Like, if you were watching this video, you are nothing short of lucky. You're lucky. You're as lucky as you're going to get. This is it. Pay attention, because what's going to happen with this project is going to change your life, period. Now, listen, this is not financial advice. I'm going to tell you some more about the project and what it does. And if it sounds like dog shit to you, then don't buy it. You made your own decision. I didn't force you into any of this, okay? And bottom line is, I don't even have to tell you that, because this is a non-regulated industry. Crypto is not regulated, but I'll tell you what I'm trying to do in the space that's a little bit different. I'll show you the actual project, and then you can make your own decision. So what I'm doing with this particular project in terms of my funds, or like the developer funds, when I set up this project, is that I'm using it to do a couple things. One, like I said, we're going to be setting up a staking protocol and tax yield, which is not set up as of the time that the project was set up, partially because we're setting up a voting and yield token, and also not a token, I'm sorry, but a voting governance where we'll vote on that. And we might switch it up. We might just implement the tax and staking early, just to start to build some of those milestones as the community starts to grow. But the bottom line is, one of the things the project does differently is it has a stake and a yield, so it has some sort of income, so you don't need to sell in order to make money, which just creates downward pricing pressure and creates a lot of volatility for any token. And in addition to that, we have a community voting mechanism. Now, the reason there's a community voting mechanism is because my funds will actually be funding a private foundation. Now, what a private foundation is, it is a nonprofit structure in terms of its tax structure, but the way that it works is you can either have an operating or a non-operating. We're going to be setting up a non-operating foundation, meaning that it does one thing, and that thing is makes grants, meaning it gives money to nonprofits. Now, the reason this voting mechanism comes in handy or comes in as part of how the community will work, the community will now be able to vote on any sort of nonprofit donations or grants that we want to make. Now, legally, how it's structured and how it's functioning, those decisions will ultimately have to be made by the board just for legal compliance reasons. Like, that's how it's made, is my understanding. These things are very complicated in terms of their corporate structure, but at the end of the day, we'll still be including votes on it and the board will be taking that into consideration when we're making these grants. And the reason we're setting it up like this is two reasons. Number one, it creates community buy-in into the mission and what we're trying to do. And number two, it just comes down to my personal mission in that I want to make a difference on this planet. I don't want a big pile of cash for no reason that I'm doing nothing with. That's the truth. You can take me at face value now because you don't know me from the next guy. People who have known me for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years can tell you not just how I was raised, but it's also just I've always had heart for people that are less fortunate. I want to make a difference in the world. That's how I ran my past company. I've done lots of things. I don't want to start talking about, how generous I am and start to sound like a douchebag that's just bragging, because that's not the purpose of it. But that's where I'm coming from. For nothing else, the selfish aspect of it is it makes me feel good. And also the big difference I want to make in the Web3 space is that there's so many of these projects that are just like complete rugs. I mean, I have so many tokens in my personal wallet that are like 0, but I have like 1 million of them because, they were just rugs. I just bought this, horse shit, and I just wrote it to 0 at some point. I was like, fuck, I have $142 in it. Let's just wait till it's worthless. Literally, let's wait till it's $0. Then I won't sell it. I'll just leave it there as it's like an NFT that I have it, or it's like it's a memento I have in my wallet, just a token that's literally worth $0. It's annoying, but that's what people do, or a lot of projects do in the space. And so I don't want to do that. I want to break that cycle. And I also want to create a long-term community. The community I want to build is going to have an interest and a focus in the nonprofit space. And so in addition to giving these nonprofits money, what we're going to be doing is doing marketing for them. Now, my background when I was an entrepreneur, well, I'm always an entrepreneur, but my background in my last business when I was building that, I had more experience in marketing than I did in the specific niche. The niche was the heating and air conditioning space. It's just was not my passion. That's why ultimately, after running that for 10 years, building it up, and expanding to 2 states, I got rid of it because it just was my spirit dry. And I had some life changes that made me want to reconsider. And that was my, daughter was born, and that made me reconsider what's important in life. And chasing my passions became much more important. I'm going to do a screen share right now. I'm going to show you this project, and then we're going to talk about the NFT project and how you can, I'm going to give you specific instructions on how you can do that. And then I'll even do a screen share. So right now I have this screen share pulled up. You can see the name of the token is HODLAY. It's a play on HODL, hold on for dear life, and órale, which is an expression in Spanish. I'm putting my face kind of at the forefront of this just because, like I said, there's so many projects out there where devs or founders or people that are the actual team aren't doxing themselves. You don't know who's actually behind it. And that's why I think there's a lot of apathy in the space in terms of every time there's a new meme coin or a new coin that comes out, people are just fucking over it because they don't think anyone stands for anything, and it's just going to be another rug. When you look at, here it talks about HODLAY. It talks about one thing I forgot to mention was the real world events, because that's another component, is that for the top holders, you're going to get a transferable access pass, meaning that when we get to 10 million market cap, 100 million market cap, billion market cap, and beyond, we'll have events for the top 10, the top 100, the top 1,000, and then top 10,000 and beyond throughout different tiers. And the reason we're structuring it that way is, like, if we have 1,000 holders when we're at a 10 million market cap, there's no point in having an event for the top 1,000 holders, because, like, no, I hate to say it, but, like, the top 1,000 aren't going to show up because everyone's 1,000. Like, there's not really a ton of buy-in yet. But when we create 1,000x, and 10 people at least, maybe even 50, will have been in a position where they really took advantage and caught that first 100x, the first 1,000x, and they're like, holy shit, this thing's for real. And so that's why we're going to have a smaller event, because it'll make sense. And then you'll also get to see any of the people that want to come to the event, because some people want to maintain privacy for obvious reasons in the crypto space. They'll show up, and it'll start to make it real for the community in terms of people that are holders, in addition to the impact we're making. Because So like I said, here's basically in a nutshell, when you talk about the ecosystem and what it does, powering purpose. So it's going to start a private foundation that is funded from my funds, from my holdings. That foundation will be self-sustaining because of that staking yield protocol, where it will receive earnings based that will be paid by tax revenue based on transaction volume. That's why it's so important for it to become a bigger project, because bigger projects, like if you look at the transaction volume of Dogecoin, which again, I'm just picking that out because it's the largest meme coin in the space, and it's got a $35 billion market cap at its height, or its previous all-time high back when Elon was on Saturday Night Live. That was, it hit like 72 cents or something. It was like a 75 or an $80 billion market cap. It was crazy. And so when you look at that, the amount of transaction volume that's going on, even today, when it's like, it's not even, we're kind of at the start of a bull market, obviously, and we're not at the height. I mean, we're not at like new all-time highs by any means. It has $2 billion a day in transaction volume. When you look at what a 1% yield can support on that on an annual basis, it's almost like a 30 to 40% yield, or a 1% tax, I mean. And so just by creating a 1% tax, you can create a lot of yield. That's why we can do a 0.5% tax, and we can vote on that throughout the project. And in the beginning, it'll be a small group of people that are just determining that voting mechanism, because there's not that many of us on the project in the beginning. That's just how small projects work when they're starting. But that's one of the central parts of it. Now, when it says token to connect, what we're talking about is those in-person events. So we're talking about the meetups where we are there in person, and think of like a music festival that also has NFTs and Web3 people there connecting. And it's supposed to be a fun thing, lively. And you know, like I said, some people won't want to meet people in person, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm still going to create that because I want to create that kind of community. And a lot of people in the Web3 space talk about wanting to create that in-person community versus just being online. And then same thing, we talked about stake and decide. This was the community voting governance, where you'll be able to vote on use of funds inside the nonprofit and the things that we're doing as a community. And so that way, it's really about giving people a voice and creating a community that's tight knit like no other. Tokenomics. So this is like how much was minted. Are there token unlocks? So total supply is 1 billion. Currently no tax. See, it says pending community vote in the future. And then liquidity pool was burnt. It's a 95% liquidity pool. It was 100% fair launch. There's no unlocks, meaning some projects, what they'll do is they'll have investor unlocks where they have 70% of funds vested for the first however long of a period. It might be normally it's at certain market caps that things are unlocked. The reason that sucks is, like, imagine you were an investor in this project, and at 50 million market cap, there's a 50% token supply unlock. That's going to basically create massive selling pressure, and a lot of projects dump when that happens because they're pulling investment out of there. That's because a lot of times venture capital, Wall Street, aka, or, you know, it's really more like West Coast Wall Street. There's a lot of venture capital in Silicon Valley. They're getting involved in these projects. They give you a bunch of money. They're going to crack the whip until they get their money back. I don't have that. I launched this as a small token. I mean, that's right. Right now, it's a $30,000 to $40,000 or $40,000 to $50,000 market cap. I'd have to check Deck Screener to see what it's doing, because it's bounced around a little bit. But when I launched, the liquidity pool was 10 grand. It was a small market cap for a reason. I did it with my own money because I am a true entrepreneur, in the sense of it's interesting in the sense of, I would say I don't like answering to other people, but it's really, I don't like answering to the wrong people. And anytime you're taking a lot of money from someone to do something, sometimes they can end up being the wrong people if their heart is not in the right place, and they're just about getting their money back as quick as possible, which, hey, it's business. I understand. Like, I don't blame venture capital for running how they operate that way, because there's a lot of scammers out there that just fucking lazy. Like, they'll take $1 million from a VC, and then they won't do because they're dumb, and they think like that's what being an entrepreneur is just raising money for infinity, and that makes you an entrepreneur. No, bro, you have to create something that adds value for society that people are willing to pay for, period. Anyways, so that's the project. Hey, this is really important. You can see this right here. You can click copy. This is the contract address. You always want to come here and verify that you're on the right project. If you go into Base Wallet right now, I can pull up my phone and show you on Base Wallet. There's like 5 or 6 scam contracts. Now, part of that will go away. And what I mean by that is they're just copycat tokens. And they do that to trick people that are maybe buying the wrong token. So always check official sources, right? You can go to, this is why everything, if you go to our social media down here and it tells you how to do this, you know, swapping inside base or phantom, buy Solana, swap your soul for some HODLAY. But like if you go to X, you can see we have our contract address listed right here. Always make sure you're on the right contract address. Don't get hosed. This is me again, as you can see. You can see what I said, Dev getting HODLAY tattoo at 10 million market cap. Just a little inside information. I might be, well, it's not really inside, it's on YouTube now, but I might be getting that sooner than the 10 million market cap. And so that's the project in a nutshell. Now, the NFT project, I'm going to explain how you take advantage of that, and I'm going to explain first why. I'm going to show you my YouTube channel in a second and explain why I'm doing this. Number one, there's going to be more NFT projects throughout this whole thing that are 100%, well, I would say free, but they're not free. You do have to do something, meaning you have to hold, for example, and I'll talk about the holding NFT projects that we'll be dropping, which is going to be a reward for people that hold through large volatility to major milestones. So if you are a part of a 100x or 1,000x or a 10,000x, you're going to be rewarded with an NFT for taking advantage of those big swings. So the longer you hold, if you're one of the top holders that took advantage of a 10,000x, you're going to get an NFT for that. That NFT, like everything else, will be an access pass where we'll have in-person events if there's enough of us to really take advantage of that, which there should be. That's why I'm trying to incentivize people along the way to hold so that they see this is a long-term project with long-term viability. And I'm not looking to just extract value today. This is about my life's mission. My life's mission is to impact other people and fulfill myself at the same time. It's not like I'm a martyr that just wants to do this because I want to sacrifice. Bro, I want to be rich like you too. That's why I thought about like, how can I get the best of both worlds? I don't have to like dump on a bunch of people because that sucks and I don't want to do that and I'm not willing to do that. That's why I've never started a meme coin, and I started re-engineering something like, oh yeah, I could create a staking yield protocol that spits off income. And now we have a sustainable project suddenly where, you know, people can actually win long term and there's a reason to stay engaged. But the reason I'm incentivizing those first 1,000 subscribers is because you are going to be the people that really help pump this project. Because number one, you're in super early. So you have a big motivating factor to make sure this project is a success. Number two, you are helping me market. When a video drops, you share it. You post, you comment, you watch the video. The best thing you can do is watch a video. I'll explain why. When it comes to YouTube's algorithm, the one thing they look at the most is watch time. And so if you play this video and you're like, he's saying the same shit again, I don't need to fucking listen, play it in the background and that will help us. And you might be like, damn, this guy's fucking telling me how to hack the YouTube algorithm. I've been through this because I built another channel, like I said, in another niche. And so I know what I'm doing. This isn't my first rodeo. I don't know what I'm doing in the crypto space per se from a place of experience, but I've been in Web3 as a consumer for the past 5 years. So I'm not, it's not like I'm a crypto noob that doesn't know how to set up a cold storage wallet. That's why I'm creating an NFT project for our first 1,000 subscribers. Your job is to be our biggest fans, our biggest supporters. And really, you're only that if you're only going to get that NFT if you follow these instructions. I have our site pulled up right now. You can see we already have 7 subscribers because I'm literally doing a grassroots movement where this video, I might even make this video unlisted. So I would save this link because I might make it unlisted after 24 hours. I'm experimenting with different titles, different things where I'm just, if I don't want this to go viral and take off tomorrow, I want to get a nice solid foundation. I want to get my first 1,000 subs in that are solid, ready to rock, ready to post, ready to, tell people to subscribe, ready to share videos, following us on Twitter. Make sure you follow us on Twitter here. This is HODLAY Coin. Make sure you're following the right one. It's at HODLAY Coin. And again, just go to hodlaycoin.com. If you see this right here, that's the website. But if you go to hodlaycoin.com, that is our website. Don't go to the wrong one and you'll know you're at the right one because that's the domain I just gave you. And it's also, anytime you're in doubt, just look in the description of these YouTube videos. All of them are going to have all the links listed because there's too many fucking scams in crypto. So make sure you're on the right YouTube channel. Check the links, everything, because again, there's so many fucking scams. If you see something that's a non-official communication of me on another channel, assume it's fucking AI. Just be careful. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes you can tell it's not AI, but you know what I mean? Be careful because AI is getting better and better by the day. So this is the YouTube channel. when you go in here, you'll see there's no public videos. There's no public videos for a reason. This video is public, and like I said, it's going to be public for a little bit. I might make it unlisted at some point as we start getting some subscribers. So when you subscribe, you're going to go in here, you're going to go to posts on our page, and you're going to see this first post. It says the first 1,000 subscribers to submit their Sol and ETH addresses are getting a free NFT as a thank you for joining our movement. We need ETH and Sol, and it's going to be the wallet that you want connected to that, where you're going to receive that NFT. We're not sure if we're minting on ETH or if we're minting on Solana at this point, because it really depends what happens with gas fees by the time we get to this point. And so just submit both, and it says take a screenshot before and after for upload at the link. That's really just to keep a track of what subscriber number you actually were. Right now we have 7 subscribers, but literally 3 people or 4 people have submitted and claimed for their NFT. And so when you do that, you're going to go in here, you're going to click this Google Forms. It's going to explain this project and why you would care about the project, and just more of a breakdown of everything I already explained. It's called 1,000 Spartans because if you remember the movie 300 or Sparta, or the story of the Spartans were the greatest warriors. We will be the greatest marketing warriors. That's what this is about. And they were very skilled in that they all worked together. And a lot of that was dramatized in the movies, but that's the legend of the Spartans. And so we've got a dope Spartan PFP on the way that's going to be a little bit modernized. You'll see there's some dope takes on it. It's kind of a modern Spartan. So here's where you can upload a file. Here's your short answer text. This is like what subscriber number you were. So right now, if you subscribed, you would go in here and you would just type in 8, and then it'll let you do that. Here's where you put your Ethereum wallet. Here's where you put your Solana wallet. And then that's it. And there's going to be an option for you. Oh, it says we only have 2 responses. Okay, I thought we had even more. So there's 2 people that are now taking advantage of this NFT. But basically, when you click, there'll be a submit button here. I'm showing you the version I see because this is a form I created. It's when it's asking for your email, you don't have to do that. You could put in a different email, but you can, or just, a fake email if you don't want it. Just put fake@fake.com. I don't really care. Important, though, is a way to get in touch with you. Use your Telegram handle. And when you join the community, if you're joining with that same Telegram handle, we'll know who you are, and that's how we can kind of get to know who's subscribed to the project. And so that's why it's so important when you go in here and you see all of our links. This will take you to our HODLAY community. At some point we will develop, once we mint the actual NFT project, we will have a separate community for the Spartans. And so that's why you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed and make sure you submit your Sol and ETH address so you can get that mint, which is free. You don't have to pay anything. And but this is, again, when you'll go in here, this channel will take you to our group. And then once I'm not going to do that now, but you can verify here. And then once it takes you to our group, you'll be in the HODLAY coin group. And so check out the coin. I really hope you get involved with the project, because if you're looking for a project that truly has the potential for life-changing gains and also changing the world for the better, this isn't just, like I said, I explained it already, so I don't need to keep harping on it. If you believe me, great, ape in. If not, tell me to go f myself in the comments. I'm cool with that too. And either way, peace. I'll catch you guys on the next episode.